Alright boys, today we're going to be taking a look at some Pokemon I think are being a little overlooked right now in Regulation E. Now look, we're going to jump right into it here, and the first Pokemon I kind of want to touch on here is actually Empoleon. Now, Empoleon, obviously, you know, everyone's kind of like talking about how, hey, like, obviously its ability was just changed from Defiant to Competitive, which I do think is a very, very important change for this Pokemon. But honestly, what I think Empoleon currently does better than, like, really any other Mon is kind of just, I feel like it's a glue 6 mon that a lot of teams really enjoy. You know, when I'm building a lot of these teams, you know, I'm looking on like Maryland Team Builder, I'm looking, you know, what my resistances are, what I'm weak to, and I'm always like, damn, I kind of need a steel, like a special steel to slot into that last slot, and Golden Go doesn't always feel good, and Empoleon kind of just fits that perfectly, right? It's a good special water mon, which honestly we don't really have that many of, and it's also just a, you know, it's a really good steel type, not to mention it's a deterrent to things like Intimidate. Now, in terms of how I think this mon should be played, I've only really found one real good way that I personally love using it, and that's kind of like on like Tailwind as this kind of like slow but you know, relatively strong special attack, right? So I run something like this, modest, you know, max speed, max special attack, just dump it in HP, and I run Life Orb. Actually, I just realized we should not be doing that with Life Orb. Yeah. So I've been running something like this in terms of the set. In terms of Terra, I personally kind of lean towards Grass for this. Main reason I like using Grass and Empoleon is basically because, like, the biggest issue I tend to find when I'm playing this mon is, like, yeah, sure, like, fighting types and stuff are annoying, but it's the ground types, it's the Landuruses, you know, it's the Ursalunas, like, they're the ones that give me the most trouble. And because of that, I do really think that Terra Grass is, like, the best Terra on this. And then in terms of the set, I've only really been running, basically, 3 attacks plus Protect. I've been running Hydro Pump, Ice Beam, and Flash Cannon. Basically, this just gives you, like, really, really good coverage. And then with things like Ice Beam, it allows you to hit the grass types. It allows you to pick up, like, one-shots on things like Landorus, and all that good stuff, right? And that's basically how I've been playing it. But I do think there are actually a couple, you know, other sets that you could potentially look at. I do think Agility could be, like, really good on this one. You could run it a bit slower with Agility, and then kind of rely on competitive procs to basically give you that that special attack boost. It also has some access to some, like, other good stuff as well. I think it gets, I know it gets Iron Defense. Does it get Body Press, though? I don't think it does, right? No, it doesn't. Damn. If it got that, it would have been really cool. But I do think, like, maybe like a you know, a slower, bulkier set with like Iron Defense could be really cool. You go something like Max HP. You know, maybe you run like, I don't know exactly how much you'd want to go. You probably go like to just like a bump on this, right? Let's hit like a bump here. Yeah. Go there. Just say like modest, and then basically from there you just kind of like buff out your special attack. I like 85 because if you're running Tailwind, it allows you to outspeed, what's it called, base 100s. So I think that's like really good paired with Tailwind. And then maybe something like that could be good, right? Kind of relies a lot on the Iron Defense. But I think you guys kind of get what I'm referring to, like, you know, what I'm kind of like trying to show off here. But yeah, I personally think that the Hydro Pump, basically 3 attack plus Protect Life Orb set is the best way to run it right now. But it definitely has a couple of cool things that you can do with it. And basically, I would show you guys like kind of cores that I think Empoleon's like really good on. But basically, I think it's just like a really good splashable 6 mon on like a lot of like hyper offensive teams, because you got all these teams right now that don't love Intimidate, and you know, with obviously things like Landorus running around, you get the Arcanines running around, Gyarados as well. I do think competitive Empoleon could be really, really good. So now the next guy I want to touch on here, I don't know if I want to say it's underrated, but I do think it's overlooked compared to some of its counterparts, and that's actually just the Grass Ogerpon. Now, for those of you who didn't know, earlier today, I believe it was basically found out that the masked version of Ogerpon basically have a 1.2 times multiplier to all of their attacks, right? Basically, it's the way, I guess, of balancing it out, because, you know, this guy gets an item, they don't. So that does kind of suck there, I'm not going to lie. But I do actually think the Grass type is really good, because I think getting a plus speed on its Terra is actually very, very important. Now, again, the cool thing with this one here is you're open to an item, right? There's a lot of different items you could test. I've seen people running, like, you know, bulky with Rocky Helmet. I personally really like Miracle Seed. There's a lot of different things you could do, right? If you wanted to play like a slower, bulkier set, you know, you've got things like, obviously like Leftovers with Leech Seed, Sub Protect could be good. What else could we do there? I'm trying to think, like, potentially a choice item. I could potentially see like Choice Band being pretty decent. But I do think like this mon's biggest issue in terms of like running a banded set is its physical moves aren't really that crazy. Obviously Ivy Cudgel on a set like this is absolutely must have. You could always run like Horn Leech, but again, I'm kind of like playing more of a Miracle Seed set personally right now. The sets I've kind of been looking at are along the lines of, where is Stompy Tantrum? Yeah. So I've been running something like this. Also really cool, it gets Spiky Shield, and then Taunt. So this is kind of the set I've personally been running. I find it's really good. This mod also has the ability to one-shot Flutter Mane with Ivy Cudgel with Terra, which is something I love if they're not speed boosted Terra. So if they're not speed boosted, I Terra and just one-shot it. which I do think is going to mean Fluttermanes are probably going to start leaning more towards running those Paragrass sets as well, which is kind of interesting. But yeah, so this is the set I've run, but this one, it has a lot it can do, right? As I was saying, like, you could run, like, Sub-Seed, right? So you got, like, this one could go Leech Seed, Spiky Shield, and then just go, like, Sub here, right? Do that, you know, you stick around forever with, like, your leftovers. It also has redirection as well, so you can use it, like, kind of, like, as a pseudo support, like, Follow Me. It's really good into things like Amoonguss, because you redirect the Amoonguss to Spore. Like, this isn't Rage Battle, this is Follow Me, right? You can't, like, the only way around Follow Me really is, what is it? It's Propeller Tail and then Stalwart, I think, right? I think they're the only 2 ways around it. But yeah, like this mod, it has a really, really deep bag. Personally though, as I said, the set I have been running is just like the pretty offensive set here. I kind of have been thinking though that I think a big thing in the metagame right now is there's so many grass types running around and fighting types running around that flying types are getting better. And because of that, I do kind of want a way to hit flying types with this mon. Unfortunately, I'm not really sure what the best answer to hit them would be, because if you have a look here, it doesn't really have options for it. So yeah, that is kind of one of the biggest issues I'm kind of finding with it right now, is like you are really weak into things like Tornadus, into things like Zapdos, something I've been playing a bit as well myself, that I think is pretty underrated. I probably won't put it in the video today, but that's like one of those honorary mentions. Even like Fundy T, I think is really good. So yeah, this one's biggest issue really is those flying types. But I do still think it is incredibly strong anyway. The way I've kind of been running this is I run it up to 100 and... Oh my god. You're running up to 156, and then basically just going like near max adamant, right? Just something like this, run adamant. You can go max if you wanted. It's really not that big of a deal. And then kind of just at this point, just dump the rest into HP. Again, this bond with Terra one-shots Fluttermane, it outspeeds it too. And then basically the way I've kind of been playing it is on like some, you know, hyper-offensive teams myself. So I really like it with Tornadus. I think Tornadus is fantastic with it. It's also really good into opposing Ogerpon. And I do generally just think that Tornadus is just a really good Pokemon right now. I do love pairing it with Rain Dance. Basically, I've been like running like this is kind of just a quick overview of the set. Rain Dance obviously really helps it out into opposing fire types, which is, you know, one of Ogerpon's biggest weaknesses. It is also really good into what's it called, the fire Ogerpon as well. I think is pretty cool. Actually too, okay, I'll give you guys the forbidden tech. It's Leer. I really like Leer. Basically, you know, speed boost plus this, so like with like Miracle Seed is like really, really good. So yeah, I've been going like Miracle Seed plus Leer. That's like my secret tech. I've also been running with Arcanine as well. I really, really like Arcanine plus Ogerpon, because like what I've been kind of doing is running a Jolly 156 set. And this is actually why I go with Cantonian rather than Hisuian. Hisuian only hits 156, and I want this to be at least 156. So yeah, I run this, and then it's like, I think I was running up to like that or something like that. So something like that was like the set I was running. And then I run it with Howl plus Will-O-Wisp. And then I was also, I believe it was, I was testing Snarl on it. I'm not like super sold on the Snarl. It was like pretty good for like Side Spam matchups. And then obviously just Flare Blitz. A +1 Flare Blitz from this spread still like one-shots like all the Moongusses and whatnot. So yeah, it's still pretty good. And this was also just like my safety goggles mon. But yeah, this core here was really, really good. I also liked rounding it out with Urshifu Rapid as well. Because obviously Urshifu Rapid, it really enjoys the Rain Dance, it likes the Leer, and it likes the Howl. So stuff like that's really cool. And then yeah, that's basically kind of one of the cores I was testing out. I'll leave it for there because I could go on like for days about this set. But yeah, I do think like this core here is like really, really good with Grass Ogerpon. And I do think Grass Ogerpon is really being slept on. Like I know everyone's kind of like talking about the fire one because the fire one's kind of busted, right? +1 attack, and then the mask gives you 1.2 times like extra damage. I know the water one's also pretty cool as like a support mon. But yeah, that is like the Ogerpon I've been kind of running, and I do think it's a really cool set. Alright, so the next homie here I want to talk about, and I'm going to try and make this one a bit quicker because I did kind of touch on it the other day. It's actually Fezandipiti. Now, Fezandipiti was a mon I personally hated on a lot, and that's why I'm trying to kind of give it a bit of extra love now, because I do actually think that it might be the best of the Loyal 3. In saying that, I am kind of underwhelmed by the Loyal 3. I don't think any of them are particularly amazing, but I am really enjoying Fezandipiti. In terms of items, I love Citrus Berry. It's been really good. I also think that Covert Cloak as well is really good, because even though this mon's like Toxic Chain ability works on like all its moves, by the way, so it works on Icy Wind and it works on Dazzling Gleam, which I think is really cool. This mon, I do think it can be used kind of as like your speed control mon, right? So you can go like Tailwind, Icy Wind, Dazzling Gleam, and then honestly, like I've been using Protect, but I really think I want to drop it for Roost, because I feel like I never just want to protect this mon. Maybe that's just me, but yeah, basically the way I've kind of been using this mon is just like max speed, and then just like, you know, 111 max bulk. Max HP, sorry. And basically, I'm using it as a speed control mon that kind of sits there, you know, throws out attacks. And like, a big thing too is a lot of people kind of just ignore it. But you know, you can't just sit there eating Dazzling Gleams, right? These Dazzling Gleams are still doing like a good 20-30% to like anything that doesn't resist it. And then eventually, you know, if you get a badly poison, you hit it twice, you know, all of a sudden, they're in a really, really bad spot. In terms of mons, I do like pairing with this, though. It has really been kind of like more balanced teams. Heatran's been a mod I really liked with it. I think I got that off Moxie Boosted, if I'm not mistaken. And basically, the way he was running it was like Magma Storm plus, like Magma Storm to trap him in, and then you just like Icy Wind Gleam them and just like slow him down, basically badly poison him, and then with like lefties on this, and then that's Leaf Stone, Scott. Goddamn. Then yeah, with like lefties plus like protect sub, it's just like, yeah, it's like pretty damn good. But yeah, I do really enjoy that kind of set on Fezandipiti. And like another set as well, actually, I was kind of like running as well was Brimstone. Now, you could actually probably even test that Heatran on this, but I did think Fezandipiti behind screens was also really cool. Especially too because it fits really well with like Sinistcha as well. Not Sinistcha, the new regional form of it, yeah. So I do think like sets like this could be like really cool where you kind of get up the screens and then like your damage really is like Fezandipiti spamming out his, you know, the poisons. Heatran obviously getting off like Magma Storms and whatnot. Sinistcha here is like clicking the Matcha Gotcha. And then also as well, like with like sets like this, you can actually run like Hex and even drop this for like Venoshock. And then all of a sudden like your poisons and your burns it, like basically you're starting to pump out a lot of damage. And because of that, I do think Fezandipiti is actually pretty underrated. And I'm really curious to see how like some of the top players really start to utilize it in the, you know, the upcoming format. And then I guess just to piggyback off that, I'm gonna talk about Sinistcha here. Now, I'm not sure if people consider this thing overrated. I feel like I saw quite a bit of it on day one. I haven't really seen it too much since then. But for me, like, what I think about this mon, I kind of been comparing it to my guy, Kyrie Irving. For anyone basically who doesn't, you know, get the reference, Kyrie Irving has got a deep bag of tricks, and that's basically what I think Sinistcha has, or Sinistcha, sorry, has. I've been testing a lot of things. Like, at first, I was testing, like, just, like, the full hard support, where I was going, like, max bulk, running things like, you go, like, Matcha Gotcha, Strength Sap, it has access to, like, Trick Room, and then, like, a Rage Powder, right? I was running things like this, like, super bulky. Basically, it was kind of like, yeah, like, a little bit of attack, max per def, and, like, this thing's job was just to basically stay alive, you know, heal up things, and then go from there. And then I started, like, testing, like, more offensive variants of it, where I was running, like, Scold as an option. I would drop... What did I have in the last, I think? Was it just Protect? I think I was running Hex. I think that's what I was running. I was running, like, more, like, offensive versions like this, where, like, basically the spreads were, like, really similar, because this mod's, like, HP and Speed are its, like, two biggest weaknesses, in my opinion. At least outside of its speed, right? Yeah, I was going for things like this, where I was, like, you know, I was, like, kind of just, like, spamming attacks, and then, like, you know, I was like, all right, second I burn the bang, just start clicking Scold. Sorry, Hex. But then, what I kind of came across today, and I was really enjoying, was the Calm Mind set. So I was running Calm Mind. I should have left Matcha Gotcha there. Matcha Gotcha. It was Trick Room, and did I have Scold? I forgot if I had Scold or Hex. I think I did have Scold because of the particular team I was playing on. I also forgot to mention, I think Terra Water is the best Terra on this one. I think it's really good. But yeah, I was running like Scold like this. You could also drop this for Hex if you wanted as well. That's like also really solid. But yeah, I was basically just like playing this mon really physically defensive instead. I think I ran it up to like 140 or something like that. Yeah, I think it was like 140 and then something like this. And then basically, if you get up that Calm Mind, it is a wrap. Like, dude, nothing was able to hurt me. I was literally just sitting there with like lefties. I had turns where I would like either double up easy, set up the Trick Room, and then just like sweep through. Like, I genuinely think Sinistcha is like really freaking good. And I guess in terms of like mons I like pairing with it, it really is just anything. Like, I feel like I could slap this on a lot of teams. I was using it like with Iron Hands is actually a really good one. I should probably talk about Iron Hands. Iron Hands, I really like it because it's like Fake Out plus Trick Room. It's just like a really good synergy in that regard. It's like, you know, Iron Hand clicks Fake Out, you know, Sinistcha clicks Trick Room, and then all of a sudden you've got this like insanely powerful mon under Trick Room with like something like this. I think this is what I was running, yeah. So I was running like really offensive, and then you can like slap on things like Close Combat, Wild Charge, like whatever it is you think the team needs, yeah. Heavy Slam's always a really good option too for Fluttermanes, obviously. In terms of Terra, I think Terra Water is pretty good. Terra Grass is also not bad. But yeah, so running things like that, I do think was really good. I also I just loved using it as a glue mon. Like, it's hard for me to just be like, oh yeah, like this one mon in particular, it's like really good with. I really liked using it with like Empoleon teams as well. Obviously, a mon we touched on before. I also really liked it. I think I was using it on Fire. A team with Fire. What's his name? Fire Ogre Pawn. I also really enjoyed it on Rain as well. I was kind of using it on like this, like not super offensive Rain team, but I had it as like a Trick Room setup on like a Rain team with Skull. It was basically the set I showed you guys before, where it was basically this, where it was like, kind of like, okay, if I need Trick Room, it's great. You know, I can go like Politoed plus this. You know, I get up my Trick Room, and then all of a sudden I've got like, you know, these like really powerful Muddy Waters and like Machagotchas in the rain. And yeah, it was like pretty damn good. But yeah, Sinistcha, dude, this one, it keeps winning. Like, I don't know if it's going to fall off like once the format kind of settles down. As I said, I do think like Ice types and Flying type stocks are up right now. I think there are so many Grass types in the format. Every team feels like they got 2 Grass types. And because of that, I do think Sinistcha might slowly fall off just because, like, again, I think the meta is kind of really leaning towards like, hey, these Flying types, these, you know, these Tornaduses, these Zapdoses are going to be really good. Obviously, Landorus is always going to be there. Terra Flying is always going to be a thing. And then there are some Ice types that are kind of picking up. And that's what we're going to use to actually lead into the final one that I kind of want to touch on here. And that is Big Bad Baxcalibur. So, for those of you who, I guess, don't know what Baxcalibur got this format, it was actually Scale Shot. Now, the thing is, right, Baxcalibur, to me, is a mon that it always kind of finds its way back into the format, right? It has a really decent speed tier. As you see there, base 107 means, hey, you can play it on Tailwind team without really investing any, you know, any speed into it, right? It hits the benchmark, it needs to outspeed, you know, Dragapult inside of Tailwind. And then on top of that as well, it has this absurdly high attack stat, it has a really, really good HP stat, and its defenses are solid, 92 and 86. While they're nothing like amazing, they are still really, really good. But what I think this mon is doing better than basically anything right now is the old, it's the Icicle Spear Scale Shot. If you want Dragon Dance, I think Swords Dance is better because I'm greedy. Swords Dance and then just obviously Protect. And then you pair this up with the Loaded Dice, and all of a sudden this mon has basically 2, like, no drawback stab moves essentially. You're always guaranteed at least 100 power out of both of them. Obviously, you know, Scale Shot's drawback is the minus defense, but that +1 speed can allow you just to sweep through a game. And again, you're talking about a mon that hits so damn hard. Like, you don't even have to go this investment, but it's still freaking crazy. In terms of speed, like, you can get away with, like, Adamant, obviously. I do think, like, if you want to be safe, though, like, going for Jolly... is Jolly even safe? Like, a +1, you don't even necessarily outspeed what you need to. Yeah, no, I actually think I'd just stick with Adamant and then, like, probably just go, like, a bulky set. Yeah, like, if I had to, like, recommend a set to you guys, it would probably just be something like this, hey... And then maybe go like, what's that here? 10. Oh, is that what I want? Yeah, something like that I think would be good. Let's just keep my OCD in check, yeah. Something like that I think is fine, right? But yeah, dude, I think Baxcalibur is like so freaking good right now. In terms of terrors, really, like, I think you kind of just want to get away from that fighting weakness. I think there's a lot of fighting types in the format right now. I don't necessarily recommend Ghost. I don't think it's great, but I do think Poison and Fairy are probably the 2 primary ones that I would say. Poison's obviously really good into things like Fezandipiti spam. It is also really good into the Ogre Pawn as well, because I do think Grass Ogre Pawn will continue to pick up. Obviously, with your ability as well, Thermal, you are pretty decent into the good old Fire Ogre Pawn as well, which I do think, by the way, like, I'll probably make a video on that in the upcoming days. I do think Fire Ogre Pawn is, like, pretty fire, dude. I'm not gonna lie, that mon is really damn freaking good. But yeah, guys, that's basically it for the 5 mons I kind of wanted to, like, basically speak on for the most part. I guess I'll give you guys some honorable mentions. Obviously, I touched on Zapdos earlier. I do think Zapdos is actually really good. I think Dipplin as well, it has a niche if you know how to use it. I've personally been struggling to use it, but I can definitely see where it's really good. I've lost to people who were running like Dipplin plus Hypnosis, which I thought was pretty cool. Obviously, I think pairing it up with things like Landorus as well is pretty nice, or the Genies in general. The biggest issue with Landorus, obviously, is that it shares that 4x weakness to Ice types as well, which I did think was kind of scary. I do think Gyarados, once again, will probably rise up. That one does feel pretty good. I do think Iron Bundle plus Alola Ninetales Snow as well is pretty good. I have also seen quite a bit of Perish Song with, Perish Rain with Bascullegion. Legion. Basically, you can use Flip Turn on Bascullegion Legion to, like, help set up your Trick Room and whatnot. So it's your Trick Room, your Perish Trap. So I do think that is also, like, another really viable option. But yeah, also, guys, let me know what you think down below. I've still got, like, there's so many mods I still want to test. I still need to test out a bunch more Clefairy. I still need to try out things like Torterra and whatnot. So there's so much testing to do. Like, it's basically all my weekend's going to be. I'm just going to be testing a bunch of different shit. But anyway, guys, that's going to be it for this one. If you could, obviously, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And let me know down below what you think is going to be really good in this format. And yeah, catch you guys in the next one. Peace.